So, Sean, let's jump in. I'll work on getting the actual the bracket side. But we do have the literally fresh hot off the presses college football playoff rankings. They're still circle jerking each other around on ESPN, talking about them. But here they are. Oh, we got the get some merchandise over there on your T Public store. Here's the QR code.
Did that very intentionally on purpose.
Absolutely. Always intentionally on purpose. There we go. There's the top 25. We have at 25 Arizona State, 24 Tulane, Houston at 23, Missouri back in at 22, Illinois creeps back in at 21, Tennessee 20, Virginia 19, Michigan 18, Texas after the loss down to 17, Georgia Tech 16. Your top 15, USC, Vanderbilt, Miami. Yes, Miami fans.
Miami.
Still going to be upset this week are those
boo-hoo
fans. We do have the Utah Utes.
Did you say Utes?
Yes, I did.
Utes.
Coming in at 12, the Mormons, the BYU at 11. Then in your top 10, we have Alabama. Notre Dame holds at 9. Remember, I said you would your fears, your concerns, your panic, unwarranted. Notre Dame stays at 9. Oklahoma,
where the wind goes sweeping down the plains.
They come in at number 8. Oregon 7. Ole Miss 6. Texas Tech cracks the top 5. They are number 5. Georgia, still working on that soundbite, comes in at 4. Texas A&M 3. Indiana 2. And Ohio State 1. So unchanged top 3. Of course, the big change, Alabama falling to the Sooners and dropping to the 10 spot. So, Sean, any big surprises? I mean, obviously, outside of Alabama taking another L, but any big surprises this week?
I mean, looking at the list here, I mean, it's pretty much all the teams that we thought were going to be in the mix, and I don't really consider 20 to 25 like in the mix, minus like a chance at that 5th. I don't see much there. I mean, Michigan's still creeping up, still hanging in there. Got a big game coming up in a couple of weeks. That could help. It's just going to be a question of, does Michigan get close enough for that win to vault them? How many losses does Michigan have?
They have 2. So I mean, they're pretty much, you got to win out or you're not going to make the playoff. But the wild thing is, because of the way the standings are playing out, is they still kind of hold their own cards, because if they do win out, that would obviously involve a victory over Ohio State to end the year. They could still play for the Big Ten title, which would then get you win a big title, you're guaranteed a berth in the college football playoff. So everything's still in front of Michigan at this point.
So that's interesting. I know Texas, I heard an interesting take with 3 losses. It's never happened. There've been no 3-loss teams, but we've only been doing this for a year, so we don't really know how this works.
Right.
But where Texas sits with 3 losses, they do still have a couple of big games going. They including a real big one at the end of the year, and there was no one happier at the end of their loss to hear that A&M pulled off the biggest comeback in school history, because if Texas wants a shot at the top 12, they're going to need that team to be as good as possible. So do I see it happening? No. Do I see Texas just missing out again? Very possible. But interesting to see where they're at, and understanding that, the way the ACC churns through teams, Georgia Tech could easily not be there in a week. And, you just don't really know what happens above them. So, play your football, I guess. Get out there and try.
Yeah, and we do have the updated look at what the bracket would look like as of now, based on this week's rankings. So your 4 teams that would get a bye are number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Indiana, number 3 Texas A&M, and number 4 Georgia. Your matchups in the first round: Texas Tech would get Tulane, ranked 12th, currently based on that at-large bid. They would be your 12 seed. Oklahoma, Notre Dame would be your 8-9. Ole Miss, Miami would be your 6-11 seed. Miami, the projected ACC champion,
champ, right?
in this, and 7-10 would be your Oregon Alabama matchup. Now, important to note here. Now, obviously, things can still change as the weeks go on, but I think as it stands right now, I don't think Miami would currently be playing for the ACC title. So they have 2 conference losses: SMU, Pitt, Virginia, and Georgia Tech, still above them, with only 1 conference loss. So some things need to happen.
So what are they projecting that those teams all lose? Is that what they're?
Yeah. So because let's see here, Pitt and Georgia Tech play each other this weekend, I believe. Yeah, that would be this weekend. So I will need to Pitt not ranked, so we will not predict that game.
Right. Yeah.
So either Pitt or Georgia Tech will receive their second loss. And then I guess they're projecting somewhere along the way, maybe one of those other teams would catch a loss. So Miami still needs a little bit of help to get into that ACC title game spot, but still fighting for it. And here's one thing I want to say, because it has become a painful talking point in sports media, sports social media, talking about how Miami at 2 losses should be above Notre Dame at 2 losses because of head-to-head. And I'm not discrediting the Miami victory over Notre Dame, because they beat us. They did. It was basically a last-second field goal, week 1, but they beat us. Okay? But here's the thing. Head-to-head is a single metric when evaluating teams and putting all of this stuff together. The thing that somehow a lot of people in sports media seem to be forgetting is that since that day, Notre Dame, of course, a one point loss to current number 3 Texas A&M. But Notre Dame has also amassed 8 straight wins. They are mostly dominating their competition, and by and large, especially on the defensive side of the ball, are a dramatically improved team than they were in weeks 1 and weeks 2.
By far,
when they lost. Since then, Miami has also struggled to put away now unranked Florida State. They have lost to Louisville. They have lost to SMU, who sits above them in the ACC standings, but is
correct.
Like you can't lose to 2 unranked teams in the month of October and tell me that you are still marketably better than a team that you beat by 3 in week 1. Like you want, like, I get it. You beat Notre Dame.
That's a lot of football that's been played.
A ton of football.
And teams grow, teams change, injuries happen, players get called up, receiving corps switch around. Like, so many things happen, especially when you factor in like the defensive side of the ball and position battles and studying film. And so, I mean, if one team gets better and the other gets worse, can I get 3 points better than you in 8 weeks? Yes, I can. Yeah. And I think that's what you're seeing.
And I understand that both of us sitting on this panel are Notre Dame fans. However, objectively, I don't think you can look at these 2 teams and the roads that they've been on, because you want to argue that Notre Dame's schedule has not been that hard. Okay, fine. We still beat a now ranked 15th USC team. They were ranked at the time we beat them, and a ranked at the time Pitt team who sits above Miami. Correct. in those ACC standings. we've beaten 2 ranked teams. The number of ranked teams at the time they played, Miami beat South Florida, who is again unranked now, and Florida State,
who lost to Navy that Notre Dame walloped.
Notre Dame
So,
clobbered.
And Navy was ranked for a while there, and like Navy always creeps in and out, and like you can count them as a ranked team sometimes, not other times, but they're usually in the top 30-ish teams in the country, and to go to take care of business there in like a storied rivalry game. I mean that's something in itself, but yeah, there's nothing more impressive about anything that Miami has done. The Louisville loss is like the big one to me, where like, is Louisville a terrible team? No, like they're not terrible, like, but they're not a top 20 team,
right?
Are they ranked higher than Miami?
Yes, teams in the country, which are our losses as well,
right?
It's 4 points, by the way. Your loss to SMU was by more points than Notre Dame's combined 2 losses.
In fact, they're like complaining about where Notre Dame is, but ironically, like where Notre Dame is like partially because of the fact that Miami refuses to fall any lower in the rankings. Like,
right.
Like the longer they hang on and hang in, the better that loss looks. So just, keep crying.
And I've seen Miami fans want to bring up like the Northern Illinois loss. They're like, well, you lost to an unranked team last year and still got it. I'm like, well, yeah, because we won 11 other games. Like, and that's the thing for Miami. It's like you lost the ability to win this argument when you lost that second game to SMU. It's 2 unranked opponents. Like I don't have sympathy at this point for where they are at. My advice to them is beat Virginia Tech and beat Pitt to close out the year. And then maybe you'll play in the ACC title game. Let's hope you don't lose that one.
Or lose to Pitt and prove a point.
Right, exactly. It'd be a real shame. It'd be a real shame for Miami fans to talk all of this shit for the last 3 weeks of playoff rankings when in reality these rankings don't matter. Like let's remember that as well. These rankings do not matter.
No.
Because
what's great is at this point Notre Dame doesn't need the Miami loss to prove anything. They're going to be in there. So if Miami wants to go ahead and drop one and just fall out entirely, that would be
I'm actively
fine by
rooting
me
for it at this point. I'm actively. It was like when BYU fans started talking shit at us for no reason. I'm like, boy, it would be a real shame if you lost to Texas Tech. I'm waiting for Texas Tech to lose because of their coach. But anyway, besides that, I'm off my Notre Dame soapbox. Some really fun matchups, potential matchups in the first round. Alabama, Oregon, kind of the new Alabama versus can Oregon be that quality opponent? I think your gem matchup in week 1 is a Notre Dame, Oklahoma. And then the winner goes on to face the defending national champion. So right there, that to me, that's your best pocket in this playoff, because I don't see Texas Tech or Tulane beating Georgia.
No.
The winner of Ole Miss Miami, I think it's a matchup against A&M would be fun. And I mean, if Oregon beats Alabama, which I think they do, because as I've been reminding people all year, Alabama is an average team. Okay, you own Georgia. You were ranked too high. You got crashed to reality. You're an average team. That you're welcome. Remember this.
Well, ironically, the one thing that crushes Alabama and knocks them that far down is it's that haunting loss to Florida State to start the year. Just hanging over your heads.
Shocking. A team that loses to a horrible.
I could see them blowing another one here and just falling out. That would be fine.
Like Mike says in the comments there, quack, 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 motherfucker.
Mike's not scared of
I think Oregon wins that game, and then Oregon gets another shot at Indiana there in the Big Ten. But
and that's neutral site once you're there, right?
The second round would be neutral site. I think the biggest wild card, and this will be my last thought on any of this, is Ole Miss sitting at 6th. They still have potential to win the SEC, to get a bye. There's a lot of noise around that program, particularly around head coach Lane Kiffin, and what his future is going to be. There's talks that he's obviously being actively looked at by both LSU and Florida. He's kind of being silent on his future. There's rumors that Ole Miss is going to give him an ultimatum. You have to decide: are you leaving or are you staying? And they're going to do that before the end of the season or before the SEC title. Like there is a lot. There is a lot of movement. I'll put the I see Mike asking who number 13 is. I'll stick the full top 25 there
It's
in the range.
Miami.
Miami there. Yeah, the bracket seating
Miami!
and the actual top 25 do vary a little bit because of those automatics. But man, if you're Ole Miss, if I'm an Ole Miss fan, I'm kind of sitting uncomfortable right now, because if Lane Kiffin up and decides I'm out, like I'm done, I'm going. I've always wanted to coach. Let's just call it LSU. And decides to leave. Man, like to bail on
What
your
a crappy
team.
like it'd be one thing if he wanted another crack at the NFL,
Right?
and that's something you could wait on. But maybe they want to know now. But like, yeah, to leave for another SEC school would
Insane.
be bonkers. Especially when that program's not in as good of a spot as yours. But I feel like Ole Miss is always a team nobody has a ton of faith in. So it's okay if you think that Ole Miss fans probably sitting on eggshells or nervous. Or I think they just always are. I feel like that's just where Ole Miss sits in the SEC. It's just on eggshells, just always afraid.
Yeah,
Like something's gonna go wrong.
It's just wild how in the midst of a, and I don't think Ole Miss is going to actually challenge for the national title, but they're top 6 in college football right now. In the midst of this opportunity at making a run, you're having to worry about your coach potentially being gone. It's just it is pretty wild. But Sean,
Now,
any other thoughts?
Well, if one of those teams, it's just interesting that with the Miami jump in, and at this point, it looks like if Miami isn't the team that wins the ACC, that it's going to be a team that's ranked even lower than them,
Correct.
presumably. So it looks like, we always talked about being 11th and not 12th. It looks like this year you want to be 10th. It looks like 11 and 12 have a real good shot of just not getting in. So that would be kind of the interesting take there. And right now it's a couple of teams from Utah that are just sitting there staring in going, man,
Sure are. But
so those two teams are hoping for a loss somewhere from somebody.
And one of those teams will have a chance to take a swing at the top dog in that Big 12 conference.
But man, I don't like sitting here at 8-9. I sure would like to move up to.
Well, I mean,
like to take a crack at that Alabama chunk of the bracket versus the Ohio State chunk first.
Sure, yeah.
Get out of that Ohio State Georgia half. Get into that A&M Indiana. I'd like a crack at A&M again. Of course, then again, we're playing better football, but Lord knows so are they.
Needing a 30-point comeback versus South Carolina says what?
Well, there's one thing about needing it. There's another thing about doing it, and it's a pretty impressive showing, I think, and grit and resolve from a handful, a bunch of kids to motivate and get them to believe that could happen, and then to do it is pretty amazing. That was arguably the best of the weekend as well.
Yeah, it was a hell of a comeback. Certainly says a lot about South Carolina and what they are and what they aren't. As well, but we'll put we'll close up the book on the college football playoff rankings for this week, Sean.